This is Joe Biden. Black Lives Matter. I'm not afraid to say it. Inequities have to be met head on. African Americans need a fair shake when it comes to economic opportunity, healthcare, criminal justice, education, and housing. That's why if I'm elected, we'll get COVID under control by listening to the science. We'll raise the minimum wage to a living wage of $15 an hour. We'll protect the Affordable Care Act, provide $100 billion in capital for minority-owned small businesses, offer a real plan to tackle the student debt crisis. We'll root out systemic racism in our criminal justice system, end cash bail, decriminalize marijuana, and automatically expunge prior convictions. Together we can fix this. Let's build back better.
Today, we're diving into the remarkable journey of the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden. From his humble beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, to the pinnacle of American politics, Biden's story is one of resilience, dedication, and public service. Join us as we explore the life and legacy of President Biden, a man who has spent decades shaping the course of American history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more fascinating biographies and stories. Let's get started. United States. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is an American politician who is the 46th and current President of the United States. A member of the Democratic Party, he previously served as the 47th Vice President from 2009 to 2017 under President Barack Obama and represented Delaware in the United States Senate from 1973 to 2009. Born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Joe Biden later moved to Delaware, where he embarked on a distinguished career in politics. After serving on the New Castle County Council, he was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1972. Throughout his tenure, Biden championed significant legislation, including the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act and the Violence Against Women Act. Despite unsuccessful presidential bids in 1988 and 2008, Biden's political journey ascended when he became vice president to Barack Obama in 2008. In the 2020 presidential election, Biden and his running mate, Kamala Harris, defeated incumbents Donald Trump and Mike Pence. He is the oldest president in U.S. history, and the first to have a female vice president. Early life: 1942 to 1965. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., born in 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, experienced both wealth and hardship in his early years. Raised in a Catholic family of diverse ancestry, he faced financial challenges after his father's business setbacks. Despite this, Biden excelled in sports and leadership roles at Archmere Academy. While at the University of Delaware, he struggled academically but earned a degree in history and political science. Overcoming a stutter since his youth, Biden became known for his perseverance. Additionally, he chose sobriety due to familial alcoholism. These early experiences shaped the character of the man who would later become the President of the United States. 1966 to 1973. In 1966, Joe Biden married Nylia Hunter despite initial parental concerns about their differing religious backgrounds. They had 3 children together. Biden graduated from Syracuse University College of Law in 1968, despite facing academic challenges due to plagiarism. He was admitted to the Delaware Bar the following year. Initially leaning towards Republican ideologies, Biden clerked for a prominent Republican lawyer in Wilmington. However, disillusioned by conservative politics, he aligned more with liberal values, registering as an independent due to his opposition to Republican presidential candidate Richard Nixon. After transitioning to a Democratic affiliation, Joe Biden began his legal career as a public defender and later co-founded a law firm. Disenchanted with corporate law and its financial limitations in criminal law, he supplemented his income by managing properties. His political aspirations led him to run for the New Castle County Council in 1970, advocating for progressive policies like suburban public housing. During his term, he opposed extensive highway projects, prioritizing community integrity. Biden's stance on the Vietnam War evolved, initially avoiding direct support or opposition until his Senate campaign, where he criticized President Nixon's handling of the conflict. He received student draft deferments, later attributed to adolescent asthma. 1972 U.S. Senate campaign in Delaware. In 1972, Joe Biden scored a surprising victory over Republican incumbent J. Caleb Boggs for the U.S. Senate seat from Delaware. Despite limited funds, Biden's grassroots campaign, managed by family and supported by labor unions and Democratic allies, emphasized environmental concerns, Vietnam War withdrawal, civil rights, and healthcare reform. Despite initial polling deficits, Biden's personal charisma and connection with voters propelled him to success with 50.5% of the vote. Death of wife and daughter. A devastating tragedy struck shortly after Joe Biden's Senate election in 1972, as his wife Nylia and one-year-old daughter Naomi were killed in a car accident. Biden contemplated resigning to care for his surviving sons, but was persuaded otherwise by Senate Majority Leader Mike Mansfield. He wrote that he felt God had played a horrible trick on him, and he had trouble focusing on work. Biden's second marriage. In 1975, Joe Biden met Jill Tracy Jacobs on a blind date, marrying her in 1977. Jill's support revitalized Biden's passion for politics. They share a Roman Catholic faith, attending Mass together. Their daughter, Ashley Biden, is a social worker married to physician Howard Krein. Beau Biden served as an Army judge advocate and Delaware Attorney General before his passing in 2015, while Hunter Biden's business and personal affairs gained attention during his father's presidency. From 1991 to 2008, as an adjunct professor, Biden co-taught a seminar on constitutional law at Widener University School of Law. He sometimes flew back from overseas to teach the class. U.S. Senate, 1973 to 2009. Senate activities. Sworn in by Secretary of the Senate Francis R. Avalio at the Wilmington Medical Center in 1973, Joe Biden began his Senate career at 30, commuting daily by train to see his sons. Re-elected 7 times, he focused on consumer protection, the environment, and government accountability. Initially, he identified as liberal on civil rights but conservative on issues like abortion and military conscription. Biden was the first senator to endorse Jimmy Carter for president in 1976 and played a pivotal role in arms control, negotiating changes to the SALT II treaty. He gained attention for criticizing the Reagan administration's support of apartheid South Africa. Biden's legislative career included significant contributions to crime control, notably the Comprehensive Crime Control Act in 1984 and the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act in 1994, which he later criticized for its impact on mass incarceration. He also voted for measures like the Defense of Marriage Act in 1996, later overturned, and faced scrutiny for his stance on bankruptcy legislation. Additionally, Biden advocated for increased funding and security measures for Amtrak during his tenure. Senate Judiciary Committee. During his tenure on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Joe Biden chaired from 1987 to 1995 and held the position of ranking minority member before and after. Notably, he presided over 2 tumultuous Supreme Court confirmation hearings. In 1988, Biden led the opposition to Robert Bork's nomination, emphasizing concerns over Bork's originalist views. Bork's nomination was ultimately rejected. Similarly, during Clarence Thomas's hearings in 1991, Biden faced criticism for his handling of Anita Hill's accusations of sexual harassment against Thomas. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Joe Biden's tenure on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee saw him rise to prominence as a liberal internationalist. He chaired the committee twice and collaborated across party lines, advocating for robust U.S. engagement in global affairs. Notably, Biden opposed the Gulf War authorization in 1991, citing concerns about the burden on the U.S. In the Yugoslav wars, he pushed for intervention against Serbian abuses, co-sponsoring resolutions with Senator John McCain to confront Slobodan Milosevic during the Kosovo War. Biden's advocacy for decisive action in the Balkans stands as a highlight of his foreign policy career, shaping U.S. involvement in the region. Wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Joe Biden initially supported the war in Afghanistan and voted for the Iraq War in 2002, later regretting his decision. As chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, he assembled witnesses supporting the invasion but became a critic, advocating for internationalization of the conflict. By 2006, Biden opposed the troop surge and proposed federalizing Iraq into 3 ethnic states, although the plan did not materialize. 1988 and 2008 presidential campaigns. Joe Biden's bid for the 1988 Democratic presidential nomination ended amid controversy over plagiarism and misrepresentations about his past. However, his 2008 presidential campaign, though ultimately unsuccessful, elevated his profile and reshaped his relationship with Barack Obama. Initially skeptical of each other, Biden and Obama grew to appreciate one another's strengths during the campaign. Biden's focus on the Iraq War and his foreign policy experience garnered attention, but he struggled to gain traction against Obama and Hillary Clinton. Despite his early exit from the race, Biden's campaign contributed to his political stature and laid the groundwork for his future partnership with Obama. Vice presidential campaigns of 2008 and 2012. Joe Biden's role as Barack Obama's running mate in the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections cemented his position as a key figure in American politics. Despite early tensions, Biden's candid style and retail-level politicking proved valuable to the Obama campaigns. Biden's impactful debate performances, particularly against Sarah Palin and Paul Ryan, were credited with bolstering Obama's standing. His public support for same-sex marriage forced Obama's hand on the issue. Together, Obama and Biden secured re-election in 2012, solidifying their place in history. Vice Presidency, 2009 to 2017. First term, 2009 to 2013. As Vice President, Joe Biden played a pivotal role in various aspects of the Obama administration's agenda. He oversaw infrastructure spending from the stimulus package and led negotiations on critical legislation like the New START Treaty and the Budget Control Act of 2011. Biden's relationships with Republicans, particularly with Senator Mitch McConnell, were instrumental in brokering deals on tax cuts and resolving the debt ceiling crisis. Additionally, he chaired the gun violence task force following the Sandy Hook shooting. Despite occasional gaffes and controversies, Biden's contrarian approach and ability to build consensus were widely recognized within the administration. Second term, 2013 to 2017. During his second term as vice president, Joe Biden continued to champion important legislation like the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act and played a role in addressing international crises, including the ISIL insurgency and the situation in Syria. He maintained strong relationships with leaders in Latin America and made significant diplomatic visits, such as his trip to Serbia in 2016. Despite speculation about a potential presidential run in 2016, Biden announced in October 2015 that he would not seek the Democratic nomination, citing personal reasons, including the recent death of his son Beau. 2020 Presidential Campaign. Joe Biden's presidential campaign for the 2020 election saw him rise from a crowded Democratic field to become the party's presumptive nominee. Despite facing allegations and challenges, he secured key endorsements, including from Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama. With the selection of Kamala Harris as his running mate, he made history. Biden's victory over incumbent President Donald Trump marked a significant moment in American politics, though Trump's refusal to concede and the subsequent events at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, underscored the contentiousness of the transition. Nevertheless, Biden's inauguration on January 20, 2021, signaled a new chapter in American leadership. Presidency, 2021-present. During his presidency, Joe Biden faced a myriad of challenges and accomplishments. From addressing the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to enacting significant legislative measures, his tenure has been marked by decisive action. Notably, his administration passed the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, providing vital economic stimulus and relief during the pandemic, and signed the Infrastructure Investment in Jobs Act into law, addressing critical infrastructure needs. Biden also made historic judicial appointments, including Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, emphasizing diversity on the bench. Despite facing criticism and challenges, such as managing the situation at the southern border and navigating a closely divided Congress, Biden remained focused on his agenda. The 2022 midterm elections yielded mixed results, but Democrats largely credited Biden's leadership for their performance. Throughout his presidency, Biden continued to advocate for unity and progress, aiming to address the pressing issues facing the nation. Foreign policy. Biden's foreign policy highlights include his first overseas trip in June 2021, where he attended G7, NATO, and EU summits and held talks with Putin. In September 2021, he announced AUKUS, a security pact with Australia and the UK. Regarding Afghanistan, he oversaw the withdrawal of U.S. troops, facing criticism for the chaotic evacuation in a deadly Kabul airport attack. The U.S. military completed withdrawal from Afghanistan on August 30th. Biden called the extraction of over 120,000 Americans, Afghans and other allies an extraordinary success. And more work like provide aid to Ukraine, China relations, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, etc. As Joe Biden's presidency came to a close, his legacy stood as a testament to resilience, compassion, and the enduring pursuit of unity in a deeply divided nation. From his early days in politics to the pinnacle of power in the White House, Biden's journey exemplifies the American spirit of perseverance and service. As history reflects on his tenure, one thing remains clear: President Joe Biden left an indelible mark on the fabric of American democracy, shaping the course of the nation for generations to come. Thank you for watching.